Imagine waking up on the 8th of May and Labour can't claim to have topped the poll in a single council. Not one. Across the entire country. That's not a political setback. That's a full-scale extinction event. And according to a new projection from Politics UK, that scenario isn't just possible. It's knocking on the door. Welcome back to British Reform, where we cut through the spin and give you British politics raw, unfiltered, and occasionally terrifying. I'm your host, and today we are diving deep into the 2026 local elections projection that should have every Labour MP reaching for a stiff drink and a CV update. Let's get into it. So a polling correspondent by the name of Henry Snowden has built a ward-level election model. That means he's not just throwing darts at a map, he's done the nady, detailed, demographic-weighted, historically informed work of looking at 128 councils and asking, who's actually going to win in May? And the answer he's come back with is, essentially, chaos. Beautiful, earth-shattering, British political chaos. Let's start with a big one. Reform UK. Because if you thought Nigel Farage and company were just a protest movement that would fizzle out like a damp firework once the general election was done, oh mate, have you been proven wrong? Reform has been polling between 26 and 32% consistently since last May. That's not a blip. That's not a sugar rush. That's a structural shift in British politics. And this model projects they will win the most votes in 69 out of 128 councils. 6 to 9. That's more than half the map painted Reform orange. Now, there was always a question. Can they actually convert polling into real votes? Remember, Farage's parties have historically talked a big game and then underperformed on the day. People said the same thing in 2024. This analyst said no, they'll deliver, and they did. This time, the argument is even stronger. Reform isn't just a movement anymore. They're an institution. They are the dominant force on the right of British politics, and that institutional weight means the risk of underperformance is genuinely lower. In places like Hartlepool and Wigan, former Labour heartlands, Red Wall territory, Reform are expected to be absolutely dominant. And here's the thing that makes this even more significant. The Red Wall wasn't just a geographical area. It was a symbol. It was Labour's emotional bedrock. The industrial towns and working communities who stuck with Labour through thick and thin for a century. Reform didn't just chip away at that. They've essentially moved in, put their name on the door, and are currently redecorating. But Reform aren't the only ones having a moment. Let's talk about the Greens, because they are also about to have the best local election night in their history. After a leadership change, the Green Party has rocketed to 13 to 16% in national polling. That's record territory. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and this is genuinely clever electoral geography. Green support is massively concentrated among younger voters, which means it doesn't spread evenly across the country. It clusters. Sheffield, inner London, Manchester, university towns. That's where the Greens are going to absolutely clean up. And there's also early evidence of improved performance among Muslim voters in certain metropolitan areas, which adds another layer to an already fascinating picture. So you've got Reform surging in the towns and former working-class strongholds, and the Greens surging in the cities and university seats. Britain's political map isn't being redrawn. It's being shredded and reassembled by someone who's never seen a map before. Which brings us to the Liberal Democrats. Look, the Lib Dems have had a genuinely impressive run. The numbers are stark. Labour previously topped the poll in 82 of the 128 councils modelled. Under current conditions, that falls to just 14. From 82 to 14. And the analyst actually raises the scenario. Unlikely, he says, but not mathematically impossible, that Labour fails to top the poll in a single council. 0 out of 128. If that happens, it won't just be a bad night for Keir Starmer. It will be one of the most seismic local election results in British political history. Now, to be fair, this projection comes with caveats. It was completed in mid-February, before the Gorton and Denton by-election. Polling is volatile. Candidate lists aren't finalized. Reform won't stand everywhere. There will be local factors this model can't fully capture. This is a snapshot of political conditions, not a crystal ball. But even with all those caveats, the direction of travel is unmistakable. Britain's political system, which ran on two parties for most of the 20th century, is now genuinely five-party competitive. And in a five-party race, the parties with concentrated, motivated, geographically suited support win. Reform wins the towns. Greens win the campuses. Lib Dems hold the leafy suburbs. Labour holds a handful of places where they used to get 68%, and even there, they are slipping. The 8th of May is going to be a very long night for a lot of people in suits at Labour HQ. And a very, very interesting one for the rest of us watching at home. If you want to stay across every development as we get closer to May, the results, the fallout, the resignation speeches, all of it, then hit subscribe right now on British Reform, because we are going to be covering this election night by night, ward by ward, as the story unfolds. Drop your predictions in the comments. Do you think Labour can avoid an absolute wipeout, or is this the moment British politics officially breaks in two? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.